Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. The Tigerman is about to happen, and it's going to be amazing. In today's video, I'll reveal how all of this will unfold. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Guys, ever since Luffy awakened Gear 5 in Chapter 1044, it became clear that this form represents the ultimate freedom. He can fight in completely unpredictable ways, shape the environment around him, and transform his body into rubber however he wants. The big question is, how far does this imagination go? If the power of the sun god Nika allows him to fight however he pleases, then the idea of Luffy taking on different forms within Gear 5 makes perfect sense. And that's where the Tigerman theory comes in. The first clue is back before the time skip. When Luffy trained on Rusukaina Island, he faced various wild animals to learn to master Haki and strengthen his body. Among these animals were a lion, a crocodile, a gorilla, and a tiger. If we look at the attacks he uses in Gear 4, we can clearly see these influences. Kong Gun comes from gorillas, Python is related to snakes, and techniques with Leo in the name come from the lion. But what about the tiger? Since then, Oda has never explored this reference. And now, we arrive at Chapter 36. In it, Luffy is wearing an orange and black jacket, and behind him, there's a tiger. Could it be a coincidence? I think not. Oda always uses visual symbolism to foreshadow future events in the story. If this scene were purely aesthetic, there would be no reason for the tiger to be there in this way. The Tigerman theory gains more strength when we analyze what happens in recent chapters. In Chapter 1138, the mural translated by Robin reveals a story about deities, conflicts, and repeating cycles. But the most interesting part is that one of the central elements of the mural is a huge fire serpent attacking a city. And what has always been said in Eastern culture? The tiger is the natural rival of the dragon. If we think about the enemies Luffy has faced throughout the manga, we can see a pattern forming. Kaido was a dragon, and Luffy used Gear 5 to defeat him. But now, at the end of Chapter 1138, another draconic entity is emerging. If Oda wants to follow the logic of Eastern symbolism, then Luffy may very well need to take on a form that represents the rival of the dragon. And what is the natural rival of the dragon? The tiger. But what would Tigerman be? Just like Boundman, Snakeman, and Tankman, this form would have to be a variation of Gear 5, leveraging the concept of absolute freedom to explore new possibilities. Luffy has already shown that he can alter his appearance in Gear 5, like when he inflated his muscles to create a stronger effect with his punches, or when he made his eyes pop in a caricatured way. So nothing prevents him from shaping his body to resemble a tiger, adopting a striped pattern in Haki, and gaining new abilities based on speed and brute strength. Moreover, Tigerman could be the answer to a weakness in Gear 5. Despite being extremely powerful, this form quickly depletes energy, and Luffy still needs direct contact to land his blows. What could Tigerman add to the equation? Perhaps something similar to the mink fighting style with Electro. If Luffy can generate electricity by moving at absurd speeds, he could further increase his offensive power and create a continuous damage effect against enemies who can resist pure brute force. And there's one more detail. In Chapter 1138, the mural also shows Joy Boy, or Nika, fighting a large winged demon. This demon holds the sun in its hands, which could indicate that it is a fire-related entity. If this creature is truly one of Luffy's final challenges, then the Tigerman form makes even more sense, because in Chinese mythology, the tiger is also associated with the energy that balances the dragon's fire. So, to recap, Oda has already shown that Luffy draws inspiration from animals to create his Gear 4 forms. The tiger was one of the animals he faced in training, but never had a technique inspired by it. In Chapter 1036, there's a tiger drawn in the background of Luffy, possibly suggesting this new form. In Chapter 1138, the mural shows a huge fire serpent attacking a city, which could indicate that Luffy will need a power, symbolizing the tiger to face it. Moreover, Gear 5 allows Luffy to alter his form, so he could incorporate the tiger's features into his combat, increasing his speed, electricity, and strength. All of this suggests that Tigerman is not only possible, but could be an essential piece for the upcoming challenges. But how does this fit into the mythology of One Piece? And what is the true meaning of this clash between the sun, the dragon, and the tiger? Since Luffy awakened Gear 5 and assumed the form of the sun god Nika, it has become clear that One Piece is immersed in a much deeper mythology than it seemed at first. Chapter 1138 only reinforces this idea by introducing the mural translated by Robin, which tells a story of cycles of destruction and rebirth. And at the heart of it all is the battle between the sun, the serpent, and divine fury. This mural seems to divide the history of the One Piece world into three major eras. In the first world, humanity touched the Forbidden Sun, which awakened the wrath of a deity and brought chaos and destruction. The text mentions that the slaves prayed, the sun god appeared. In other words, at some point in the past, a solar entity arose to free the oppressed. But this provoked the fury of another powerful force, which brought darkness to the world. This passage directly references the legend of Joy Boy and the ancient kingdom. We know that Joy Boy tried to bring dawn, the new morning, to the world, but failed and lost his battle against the rulers who would become the world government. But if we connect this to Asian mythology, we realize that this conflict may be symbolized by the battle between the dragon and the tiger. In Chinese culture, the dragon represents imperial power, control, and authority. It is the symbol of royalty and the gods who govern the order of the world. On the other hand, the tiger is the rebellious spirit, the force of nature that opposes the dragon's absolute domination. That's why, in many stories, the dragon and the tiger are portrayed as eternal rivals, fighting for the balance of the universe. Now, back to the mural. If this story tells the battle between the sun and the fire serpent, and we know the sun is associated with Luffy, Nika, then who or what is this serpent? The most obvious answer would be the world government and Imu, the entity that seems to be above everything. But looking at the history of One Piece, there's another possibility: the celestial dragons. Their very name already carries the concept of dragon in the title. They rule the world from the heights of Moria Joie, just as Chinese emperors were considered direct descendants of dragons. If Oda is indeed following this symbolism, then Luffy, as the incarnation of the sun, is not just an enemy of the dragon. He must take on the role of its natural rival, the tiger. But this would only explain the conflict between Luffy and the world government. However, the mural mentions something even more specific: the Hellfire Serpent, a creature that seems to have devastated a large city in the past. And this serpent may be about to reappear in the story. Remember, chapter 1138 ends with the emergence of a new dragon. If this creature is linked to Imu or the world government itself, Luffy may have to face it directly. And in this case, the symbolism of the Tigerman makes even more sense, because in the East, the tiger has always been the force that fights against the dragon. But the mural doesn't just speak of destruction, it also suggests a rebirth. The third world described in the text talks about a sun god who dances and laughs, bringing the world to its end, but then mentions the sun will return and then a new morning will come. In other words, this battle has happened before and will repeat itself, but this time the cycle may be broken. So, if Luffy already represents the sun, why would he take the form of the Tigerman? The answer may lie in what happened to Joy Boy in the past. If he was the incarnation of the previous sun god, he failed. The ancient kingdom was defeated, and the victors rewrote history. The dragon defeated the tiger, but now, with the return of Nika, this battle may take a different turn. Gear 5 is already the pinnacle of freedom, but Oda may be preparing something even bigger for the final phase of the story: a Luffy who not only represents the sun god, but also embodies the spirit of the tiger, becoming the true balance against the dragon, and ending this cycle once and for all. This may also be linked to the Tiger Stripe Haki, a concept that hasn't appeared in the manga yet, but could be a new form of advanced Haki. Since Kaido revealed that Haki surpasses any Akuma no Mi, it has become clear that by the end of the story, Luffy will need to reach a level of power greater than Gear 5 to face his final enemies. If he develops a Haki that physically alters his aura, creating stripe patterns on his body like a tiger, it could symbolize his complete evolution as a warrior. Moreover, this form could be a direct response to the greatest threat in the story: Imu and his ability to erase things from existence. If Luffy must face him, he will need something more than just elasticity and creativity. He will need a power that resists erasure itself. And the Tigerman may be that form, combining the freedom of Gear 5 with an unshakable strength that only Haki can provide. Finally, it all goes back to the mural and the symbolism Oda has built. If the sun god Nika already represents the fight for freedom, then the Tigerman may represent the warrior who finally brings that freedom to the world. Just as previous cycles failed, Luffy may be the one who breaks the wheel and ends the dragon's dominion over the world of One Piece. And so, the battle between the sun, dragon, and tiger may be the great event that determines the fate of the world. If this happens, then the Tigerman will not just be a new form of Luffy, it will be the final manifestation of his role as the one who brings the dawn. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.